On August 14, 1947, after 200 years of subjugation, the country was jubilant at the very prospect of freedom. This was the last day when the Union Jack flag, inscribed with the Star of India, was lowered from the flagstaff at the Viceroy's residence. The Constituent Assembly met in the evening at the Constitutional Hall, as it was getting prepared to become the Legislative Assembly of an independent India. Though India became a free nation on August 15, 1947, it declared itself a sovereign, democratic and republic state with the adoption of Constitution on January 26, 1950. After a spell of extremely cold weather, the morning of 26 January 1950 saw a clear and sunny day in the capital city of New Delhi. India's defining moment, the day it freed itself completely from the shackles of colonialism to become a truly sovereign state, had arrived 3 years after it gained independence. The Constitution gave the citizens of India the power to choose their own government and pave the way for democracy. Parliament of India, a magnificent manifestation of the democratic ethos of our country. Over the years, Parliament has evolved as an institution with multidimensional roles, nurturing and encouraging participatory democracy. Our Parliament has been instrumental in ushering social change and development through progressive legislations and meaningful debates on crucial issues facing the nation, thus paving the way for good governance, which constitutes the basic principle of our Constitution. The federal structure of Indian polity rests on the principle of parliamentary form of government, which makes the executive accountable to the legislature.
Domain knowledge, parliamentary skills, and proven performance in this House.
And question hour is one of the most important tools to fix the accountability of the government.
Restructuring happens, and every time there's also an enhancement of money being given.
The government, central government, has sanctioned a total of 1 crore 15 lakh houses.
If I may use the term P2C, passenger to cargo, 150 planes.
Besides functioning as the highest lawmaking body, how does Indian Parliament function as the grand inquest and watchdog of the nation? Hello and a very warm welcome, viewers. You're watching our special presentation on Question Hour of Parliament of India. The annals of history of parliamentary proceedings and functioning in India remind us of the strength and scope of Question Hour as an effective armor to raise the concerns of the people. A lot of time, resources and efforts are put in while preparing the answers of the questions. So why is the Question Hour important? How are the questions asked? How are they answered? What about the ballot? In this edition, all your queries will be answered. So come along.
Question hour.
The Question Hour is an important part of the parliamentary proceedings which gives the institution of Parliament the great significance it possesses.
Whatever the international standards available in the world, on the same standard, they have to manufacture the vehicle. Either it is electric, either it is petrol, either it is diesel, or either it is on green hydrogen or any fuel they can use. But the safety standards are already fixed.
This hour has assumed greater importance as the members can elicit information through questions on matters affecting the day-to-day life of citizens, for which ministers are collectively and severally answerable to the legislature.
किसान को सही दाम से फर्टिलाइजर मिल रहा है और भविष्य में भी सही दाम से फर्टिलाइजर मिलते रहेंगे, ऐसा हमारा प्रयास है.
This parliamentary device, in fact, is primarily meant for exercising a kind of legislative control over executive actions. Besides, the members also find an opportunity through this device to question government's policies and programs, ventilate public grievances, expose government's lapses, and extract promises from the ministers.
I have the experience in Parliament both as Member of the Parliament, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, and also now as the Chairman. And my experience shows That question hour is an important instrument through which you can elicit information, you can highlight the shortcomings of the government of the day, and also take the opportunity to pass on the people's aspiration to the government.
The answers to the questions achieve twin objectives. 1. The public at large comes to know of the policies of the government. And 2. Information about public reaction and public opinion about a government policy and its implementation, including its shortcomings, is fed back to the government to enable them to make necessary modifications if required in the public interest.
ग्रांट हम दे रहे हैं जो आपने प्रश्न किया
एक स्टेट में हमारा स्टेट आपका स्टेट नहीं है सभी स्टेट जिधर टूरिस्ट आते हैं अल्टीमेटली ये प्रपोजल स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से आना पड़ेगा
Asking of questions is an inherent and unfettered parliamentary right of members. It is during the question hour that the members can ask questions on every aspect of administration and governmental activity. Government policies in nation as well as in international spheres come into sharp focus as the members try to elicit pertinent information during the question hour.
Question number 182.
One of the ways this water resources management is done.
The government is put on trial during question hour, and every minister whose turn is to answer questions has to stand up and answer for his administration's acts of omission and commission. Through question hour, the government is able to quickly feel the pulse of the nation and adapt its policies and actions accordingly. It is through questions in Parliament that the government remains in touch with the people.
रैलियों को इस प्रकार से आयोजित किया जाए प्रतिवर्ष ताकि देश का कोई भी जिला शेष न बचे यहाँ के यदि युवक उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करना चाहते हैं रैली में तो उन्हें पार्टिसिपेट करने का अवसर न मिले ऐसा एक भी जिला शेष न बचे.
It is through questions in Parliament that the government remains in touch with the people. Question enable ministries to gauge the popular reaction to their policy and administration.
65,819 crore that is from the public sector bank से recovery हो चुका है.
The minister has answered that paying these bills is a continuous and dynamic process.
Questions bring to the notice of the ministers many loopholes which otherwise would have gone unnoticed. Sometimes, questions may lead to the appointment of a commission, a court of inquiry, or even legislation when matters raised by members are grave enough to agitate the public mind and are of wide public importance.
मुझे दुख है कि इस कंसल्टेशन में किसी भी प्रदेश को बुलाया नहीं गया.
55 किलोमीटर में एक टोल प्लाजा होता है नेशनल हाईवे पर. तो टोल प्लाजा होता है वहाँ पर भी एम्बुलेंस की व्यवस्था होती है और एम्बुलेंस से तुरंत ही कॉल आने से पेशेंट को नियरेस्ट डिस्पेंसरी तक पहुँचाते हैं. इस टाइप की व्यवस्था वर्तमान समय में विद्यमान है.
Well, the question time originated in the Westminster system of the United Kingdom. And like other legislatures, Rajya Sabha has provided for the procedure for asking questions in its rules of procedure and conduct of business. The first sitting of Rajya Sabha was held on 13th May 1952. From that date till 26 May 1952, there was no question hour in the House. The first half an hour was made available for asking and answering questions on 27th and 28th May 1952. In Rajya Sabha, the questions were thus put for the first time on 27th May 1952. The chairman Rajya Sabha made an announcement on 14th July 1952 regarding amendment in the rules, thereby making the first hour of sitting on every Monday to Thursday available for asking questions. The new procedure was followed in the House from 21st July 1952. This procedure continued till July 1964, when it was further revised to include Friday also. Earlier, the question hour started at 11 a.m. and concluded at 12 noon. However, during the winter session of 2014, which commenced on November 24th, question hour was rescheduled from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Shifting of question hour from 11 a.m. to 12 noon in November 2014 has led to about 9% increase in its utilization over the next 5 years.
We had to put fiscal deficit behind us and come out with an economic stimulus. These are circumstances where the fiscal deficit itself will rise.
But the Rajya Sabha is yet to achieve the intended objective. 32.60% of the total time available for question hour was availed during the 5-year period of 2010 and 2014, with 67.40% of the precious time lost due to disruptions and forced adjournments. The utilization of question hour has improved to 41.39% of the available time during 2015-2019, with 58.61% of question time lost due to disruptions and forced adjournments. Even after its rescheduling in 2014, about 60% of the question hour time continues to be lost.
Question hour lost means about 30 to 40 members of a Rajya Sabha losing opportunities. And moreover, this question hour is also directly telecast, and people have an opportunity to see and watch what their representatives are doing, whether they are performing their responsibilities in a proper manner or not. This will also make the bureaucracy at various levels be always attentive. I had the experience as a minister, and I used to observe and I used to practice myself. I used to go through the prepared answers, and sometimes before placing it in the Parliament, used to correct it also. And then whatever doubts I had, I used to have interaction with the officers. So that provides an opportunity even for the ministers also to have first-hand knowledge of what is happening.
The members and the ministers have to be concise and concrete while asking and answering the questions.
सामाजिक आधार पे आरक्षण दिया गया है, तो आप आर्थिक को उसमें कैसे समाहित किए गए?
National highways are supposed to be the best in the country. There we are finding 50,000 accidents in one state.
जिस क्वेश्चन आवर को बनाने में देश का बड़ा रिसोर्सेज इस्तेमाल होता है, उसके पीछे ऑफिशियल्स कितना काम करते हैं उसी द अमाउंट ऑफ लेबर, एनर्जी एंड स्केर्स रिसोर्सेज एंड कैपिटल ऑफ द कंट्री जो टैक्स पेयर्स का पैसा है इसके लिए इस्तेमाल होता है, उससे क्वेश्चन का आंसर तैयार होता है। हमारे सारे ऑफिशियल्स भी आकर गैलरी में बैठते हैं। एक क्वेश्चन का जवाब अगर गलत जाए तो मेंबर्स को वो ये अधिकार है कि कैसे बाद में उस पर वो फॉलो अप क्या प्रोसेस अपना करके और अकाउंटेबिलिटी तय कर सकते हैं।
This August House has taken a 30-day recess.
For the purpose of answering questions in Rajya Sabha, the ministries and departments of Government of India have been divided into 5 groups. And these groups have been allotted Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays respectively.
And now day by day, the sale of petrol and diesel vehicle will be reduced, and alternative fuel and electric vehicle sale will be increased, and after 5 years, total scenario will be changed.
The grouping is done in such a way that each minister has one day fixed in the week for answering questions in the Rajya Sabha and another fixed day in the week for answering questions in the Lok Sabha. Grouping is done in such a way that each group has approximately the same number of questions. The ministries which attract a large number of questions are not usually bunched together. 1 or 2 such ministries are normally put along with other ministries which attract lesser number of questions.
ये सारा गैर वनीय भूमि का उपयोग करने के बावजूद भी 1540 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर फॉरेस्ट बढ़ा है।
You must have seen or read reports that a minister gave a written reply or an oral answer on the floor of the House. How are these questions categorized? Let's find out.
माननीय सभासदों, माननीय सभापति जी।
Admitting or disallowing questions is the sole discretion of the chairman.
The names, after they complete their submissions, if there is still time available, I started the practice of taking the remaining this thing.
Questions in Rajya Sabha have been categorized as start. These are questions to which answers are given orally on the floor of the House during the question hour. Unstart. These are questions to which written answers are given by ministers which are deemed to have been laid on the table of the House at the end of the question hour. Supplementary. These are questions which arise out of minister's answer to a start or short notice question. They can be asked with chair's permission immediately after the minister has answered the main question. Short notice. Such questions can be asked orally in the floor of the House after the question hour. These must relate to subject matter considered by chairman to be of urgent public importance. The admissibility of questions in Rajya Sabha is governed by Rules 47 to 50. Questions seeking information on matters falling within the exclusive domain of the states and for which the state governments are not answerable to the union government are generally not admitted. When a state is under the President's rule, all questions pertaining to the matters falling within the sphere of that state are admitted. Questions must be on a matter of public importance and should not exceed 100 words, pointed, specific and confined to one issue only. Questions containing arguments, inferences or defamatory statements or which otherwise refer to the conduct or character of any person except in his official or public capacity are not admitted. Questions which are substance repetitions of those that have been answered previously are not admitted. Besides, if subject matter of a question is pending consideration before any court of law or is under consideration of a parliamentary committee, the same is not permitted. Questions making discourteous references to a friendly foreign country are not admitted. Similarly, questions which raise policy matter too large to be dealt within the limits of an answer are generally not admitted. The fact that total number of questions included in the lists of questions for oral and written answers for any one day is limited to 175. But the sanctioned strength of the Rajya Sabha is 250. So how are these questions admitted? Perhaps one of the most interesting parts of the entire question hour process is the ballot procedure.
Whenever the questions come, they are arranged in a chronological sequence and say for example on a given day, if say 74 members have raised the questions, it's not that all 74 will get a chance. So we need to do a ballot. How do we do a ballot? We do it in the lobby of the Central Hall of the Parliament, in the presence of MPs if they wish to remain present, or otherwise the Secretariat officials, and of course in my presence. And what we do is like we put 75 coins in a box and then by random picking up, we choose the coins and put them on a kind of a board with 25 boxes, because it is 25 questions which we try and select. Though what may be admitted is only the question number up to 15, but additional 10 questions are taken up so that in case any other question is negative for some reason or because of its transfer to another ministry or anything, then we can possibly take the next question which is in sequence.
A member is issued up to 150 start question notice forms at the beginning of each session, and he or she may obtain additional forms if required in batches up to 50 forms. Unstart question notice forms are issued as per the requirement. Notices of questions should specify the minister to whom the question is addressed and the day of ballot. Members can submit the notices through two modes, physical notice and e-notice. Nowadays, approximately 90% of the notices received are e-notices. Two separate ballots are held at 5 p.m. in the lobby of the Central Hall on every working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. Ballot for start list is conducted manually, while for unstarred list it is conducted electronically. Members of Rajya Sabha, Secretary General and officers of Question Branch are present during this exercise. For starred list, ballot priority is held for 25 members, although 15 questions are listed in the starred list. While conduct of the ballot, entry is made by the Secretariat Assistant in the software regarding the position secured in the ballot and also manually by dealing hand in a sheet prepared for the purpose. After the ballot is completed, it is cross-checked whether entry made in the software, the manual entry made by the dealing hand and the tokens placed in the board match.
बैलेट करने के लिए हमारे पास एक लिस्ट होती है जिसको हम कहते हैं प्री बैलेट लिस्ट। जितने मेंबर ने नोटिस दिया और मेंबर का नंबर होता है उसके सीरियल नंबर के हिसाब से जो कंप्यूटर जनरेट करता है सीरियल नंबर, वहाँ पर जितने मेंबर नोटिस दिया होता है उतने ही ये कॉइन्स बन के आते हैं। इन कॉइन्स पे वो नंबर इंडिकेट होते हैं। इन सारे कॉइन्स को फॉर पर्टिकुलर डे, जैसे आज के दिन में 76 मेंबर ने नोटिस दिया था, 76 मेंबर्स ने दिया था, तो 76 कॉइन्स को इस बैलेट बॉक्स में डाला जाता है एंड देन बैलेट बॉक्स में डालने के बाद इसको रोटेट करके ताकि सारे कॉइन्स एक बार मिक्स हो जाएं वहाँ पर, तो जो भी बैलेट कर रहा होता है माननीय सांसद कर सकते हैं। अगर वो उपस्थित नहीं होते हैं तो महासचिव महोदय करते हैं, अगर वो नहीं होते हैं तो अधिकारीगण, इसमें मैं भी कभी कोई करता हूँ बैलेट वहाँ पर। इसको डालने के बाद एक एक नोटिस निकालने के बाद ये हमारे पास बैलेट बोर्ड होता है, इसके ऊपर 1 से लेकर 25 तक के नंबर लिखे हुए हैं। तो एक एक बैलेट निकालने के बाद पहले नंबर के लिए दे पुट द बैलेट, तो हमारे साथी अफसर होते हैं वो अनाउंस करते हैं लाइक पहला बैलेट आया 21 नंबर कॉइन आया, तो इसे कि 21 इज़ 1, तो दे अपने बैलेट लिस्ट में इंडिकेट करते हैं 21 नंबर के बाद जिस मेंबर का नाम लिखा था उसका आगे नंबर 1 लिख देते हैं और देन देयर विल बी एंटर्ड इन द कंप्यूटर सॉफ्टवेयर। साइमल्टेनियस प्रोसेस चलता रहता है यहाँ पर। ऐसे एक एक करके हम कॉइन्स निकालते जाते हैं और 1 से लेकर 25 तक की प्रायोरिटी फिक्स कर लेते हैं एंड देन ये सारी चीज़ें एंट्री सॉफ्टवेयर में हो जाती है। सॉफ्टवेयर में फिर क्रॉस चेक करते हैं कि जो एंट्री यहाँ पे बोली यहाँ पे कॉइन्स रखे थे वही एंट्री हुई है या नहीं हुई है। क्रॉस चेक करने के बाद जब फाइनल हो जाता है तो फिर उसको प्रिंट आउट निकाल के दैट वाज द बैलेट फॉर द प्रायोरिटीज़ फॉर द पर्टिकुलर डे ऑन पर्टिकुलर पार्ट। 25 मेंबर्स के नाम निकल जाते हैं।
After cross-checking, the final list is signed by the member or the officer conducting the ballot and published on the Rajya Sabha website.
There is always an invitation in the bulletin that we could come and see how it happens. But today was the first opportunity, I have to confess, and it was extremely exciting and a very transparent system.
It's a nice experience and there is transparency, I think.
I mean, what I did just now is very transparent, so I suppose that's what happens every day.
So a couple of times I have been lucky to get star questions, so at that time I was wondering why I'm left out other days. Now I understand that, I mean, there is a tough competition and luck needs to favor you. And I appreciate the Rajya Sabha Secretariat for holding such a transparent system.
I think that whatever the process has been adopted is very transparent because the member of parliament is invited, the officers are there, senior officers are there, and it is a collective effort to get the questions selected by a ballot system.
One day I was really called for it and I did the ballot by myself. It's totally purely in an unbiased manner. it purely goes on the selection by only by a lot system, the starred or the unstarred. I think it's a fair job done by the Secretary of the Rajya Sabha.
The whole process is very, very robust, transparent, and the manual drawing of the numbers is actually a very robust way. Nothing can be tampered with.
Several sets of answers to start questions and answers to unstarred questions for the day are kept in the notice office for members' perusal. "40 copies of each of the answer to start questions are also kept in the inner lobby for perusal of members from 10 a.m. onwards on the answer day. The question hour sometimes witnesses fun repartees full of wit and humor.
Many of the members, they remove their pens and keep it in their side bag.
Thanking the Honourable Minister for raising a question.
Ministers doing their homework are better equipped to face the questions as well as the volley of supplementaries which throw a searchlight on the working of the administration.
सर हीरो में भी ये होता है, एक बार हीरो का रोल करने के बाद कैरेक्टर रोल करना पड़ता है, फिर हीरो का रोल नहीं मिलता.
Honourable members.
Thus, the question hour enjoys a special place in parliamentary proceedings. Perhaps this is the only parliamentary device which is made use by most of the members of the House.
21 crores of people. Do you want the products of UP to be brought to Delhi?
I want to ask the Honourable Civil Aviation Minister.
इस पर हम लोग जरूर प्रयासरत हैं.
Parliament represents the interests of the people and ensures those interests are taken into account by the government. Asking of questions is an inherent parliamentary right of every member, irrespective of his parliamentary affiliation, to articulate the will of the people. Well, that's all we had for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Namaskar.